welcome to this edition of Week in Review! This week was the week of April 13th through the 17th. So let's start on Monday and Tuesday. On Monday and Tuesday, you read from the book Seed Folks about Se-Young, whose faith in people was restored by the Guardian. She also discovered that she had something to offer this world. I want to really thank you, those of you who took some time to share your talents and skills and how you can use them to make this world a better place. I am confident that you will succeed. Also at the beginning of the week, you met Philip, who taught you about deforestation and preservation of forests through consumer decisions. You were tasked with finding data about deforestation and sharing 3 ideas that you could implement today on how to cut down on paper usage. Some of you had some really one-of-a-kind ideas. Unfortunately, paper is only a small part of the problem. For more on that, let's go to me in the garage. That's right, paper is just a small part of the problem. Turns out that in America, we produce over 250 million tons of consumer waste every year, and less than 1/3 of it is either recycled or composted. Turns out that 40% of all the waste that we make comes from construction projects alone, and 7% of the construction waste is wood. That comes out to a total of 3.3 million tons of construction wood thrown out every year. So when I see wood, maybe from a project, I always like to collect it. For instance, this wood right here, it comes from one of my neighbors who was taking their deck apart a few weeks ago. I asked, can I take the wood? And they were like, sure. That way they didn't have to throw it out. I'm going to show you what we did to the wood. We took this old wood, cleaned it up, and then you're able to stain it, make it look real nice. Now let's go see what we made. Here we are with the final product. From that old deck wood, we're able to make not 1, not 2, but 3 whole garden boxes for all my vegetables this year. From an old deck to new life. Another way to reuse wood. Back to you. Very special thanks to Mr. Rappold for letting me use his old deck. Moving on to Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday was Mustache Day. And Thursday was Animal Day. Also, we read 2 more chapters on Seed Folks. The first was about Curtis, who was all about him. However, through his experience of growing tomatoes and his experience with a young man named Royce, Curtis changed to understand that life, it was not about him. It was about taking care of others, whether a boy thrown out of his house or Letitia's tomatoes. Speaking of tomatoes, let's go see how your tomato plants are doing. Here we are at our little gardening station. We have 4 plants here. We have this is Caitlin's tomato, Mazzelli's tomato, and Morgan's tomato. You can see they're getting pretty big. Here's a little, this one is a bean. That's the bean that I planted the first day we started reading Seed Folks. As you can see from Mazzelli's, we have some flowering happening. So we're going to get some tomatoes on this plant real soon. We'll get them outside as soon as it starts to warm up a little bit. So, back to you in the studio. A special thank you to our 3 tomato growers for their contribution to my new garden boxes. The second chapter that we read on Wednesday and Thursday was about Nora. Well, actually, it was about Mr. Miles. I hope that all of you took to heart the one line, "We mustn't stop living before our time." I hope you took it to heart, because it is so true. Even in quarantine, especially in quarantine, to take advantage of every moment we have. Please, make every day count, because in the end, they all add up. Speaking of making every day count, Thursday was our trip to the Museum of Science and Industry. Now, due to the fact that I was asked to stay home after our last field trip, I sent Philip instead. Let's see how that went. Well, that looked like a bunch of fun. By the way, you will be seeing a refund for your trip as soon as we can get it out to you. One thing that we will not be seeing for a while is Philip. But what I hope to be seeing soon is a video from you on advice to our next year's 8th graders. That's right, I have opened a Flipgrid where you can share advice for the incoming 8th graders on how to survive next year. You can talk about study habits, teachers, classes, whatever you want. But please get them to me as soon as possible. Also, coming soon, we will have freshman advice for you from the high school students themselves. After all, who better get advice from than the people who are living in now? Speaking of high school, please make sure to check your school email for important information about freshman scheduling. And now, with only 2 weeks left together, I'm putting together my final thoughts for you as you leave HMS and enter Hobart High School. One of my biggest thoughts for you as you enter high school is gratitude. I have a feeling that the last 3 years were not easy. From the awkwardness of 6th grade to the, 7th grade to the transition year of 8th grade. There are many times that you probably needed help. Oh, this has got to be good, man. And now, with only 2 weeks left together, I am putting together my final thoughts for you as you leave HMS and head off to the high school. One of my biggest thoughts for you as you enter Hobart High School is gratitude. I have a feeling that the last 3 years, they were not easy. From the awkwardness of 6th grade to the, 7th grade, and to the transition year of 8th grade. There are probably many times that you needed help along the way. I want you to take some time over the next few weeks to think about any and all of the people that have helped you get through middle school life. Then, I want you to take some time to thank them. Let them know what they have done for you. Perhaps it hasn't hit you yet, but you're not going to return to the middle school anymore as students. So take some time to thank someone. Send them an email or a video. I don't care. Just be thankful for all of the people that were put in your path to get you to where you are today. And to show my gratitude to all of you for making this year memorable in a very good way, I have created a video for you. Here's a sneak peek. Wow, that really leaves a lot of questions. To answer those questions, please check on Canvas for my video to you. That's all for me on Week in Review. Don't forget to make today count.